Here you go.
It's a matchup nearly 365 days in the making as the ACHA turns their attention and their focus to Grand Rapids, Michigan tonight inside of Patterson Ice Center. It's a rematch of the first ever divisional championship here in the Great Lakes 6 between Calvin and Adrian, and it's live tonight on YouTube. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Nate Wangler with you, flying solo for this one. Well, number 9 and number 10 in the country, respectively. And again, we talked about this is a vengeance game for Calvin. Earlier this season, they were able to end what was a 24-game losing streak against the Bulldogs, so they proved that they can do it. But last year, they were just that close to winning the first ever Great Lakes 6 title. That game went into overtime. They ended up losing in that matchup. So another opportunity for this Calvin team. It almost kind of reminds me of what we're going to see in the Olympics coming up at 8 a.m. tomorrow between the United States and Canada. It's an opportunity they've been waiting for forever, since that Four Nations playoffs. And after a clutch win against Hope yesterday, they have that chance right in front of them. 27-2 on the air. Again, took down that Hope team 1-0. Really took advantage of some tired legs for the Flying Dutchman. Ickes set up Petrula for the only goal in that game as Calvin was able to lock things down, and Josh Petruzma with another opportunity to add a divisional championship here today. On the other side for Adrian, at number 9 in the country, 26 wins, 6-2. Got that victory yesterday over Purdue Northwest. That was a tied 1-1 game at one point, and then 5 unanswered goals later for Adrian, including a pair of power play goals, really launched them into the victory in that one, and now a chance to add consecutive Great Lakes 6 championships. Gary Astalos into his 10th season leading this program, one of the deepest support staffs in all of the ACHA. He's guided this program to now 3 ACHA national championships, 2018-21, and most recently 2024. Oh, and by the way, they got back to the national championship last year, just weren't able to finish it off, lost to UNLV in the final in that matchup. But the truth is, this is a team that is perennially in the conversation, and they are yet again in the conversation this year. One of the biggest reasons, their goaltending has been some of the best in the country this year. Peyton Chaska, 17-3 overall, 2 goals against average, a 92.7% save percentage, but even beyond that point, doesn't get any easier. How about Dylan Eliason, 8-3, a 1.5 goals against average with a 93.7% save percentage. It's tough to get anything past these guys, and it's an Adrian team that does things by committee. Those points really spread out. Multiple different players, Sebastian Smith, Eli Reamer, the two we're looking at here tonight, both tied with 38 points in the lead for Adrian College. They beat you in numbers. 5 different players averaging a point per game. Can Calvin, who finally proved this year that they can beat this Adrian team, come through in the biggest moment? It's a vengeance game for the Calvin Knights, and Adrian looking to keep business as usual. All that and more coming up next. National anthem, lineups, and then it's game time. A rematch that we've been waiting for all year long. Calvin and Adrian right here on YouTube. Well, sometimes when you make it all the way to the championship game, you're never really quite sure if you'll have another opportunity to get back. It's so rare to win championships, let alone get another crack at the team that beat you. But that's the reality tonight for Calvin against Adrian in the Great Lakes 6 Division Championship. The Bulldogs looking to make it consecutive conference titles and get back into the national championship picture. Meanwhile, Calvin, cold, calm, collected, looking to upset Adrian and continue their run of form and avenge their loss from just a season ago in overtime. And it starts right now on YouTube. Draw one back by Adrian, and here we go. Underway in this Great Lakes 6 championship matchup. And with that, we say welcome in to everyone joining us. Whether you're on the Calvin side or the Adrian side tonight. 1-0 win for Calvin just a night ago. Petrula with the lone goal, Ickes on the assist. Those two have combined a lot this season as they get this one into the offensive zone. Looking for a lane to send one on. Ripped away by the Bulldogs in front of net. And Reamer will carry it to center ice. But Petrula able to score it. Calvin holding down the fort late in that matchup and withstanding a late storm, a late surge from Hope. As this one's wrapped around the goal. Fedema back in net here tonight for Calvin. It's Chaska on the other side for Adrian, and they have been exceptional in goal this year. Fed back in front, searching for a one-timer, offline though. As it bleeds back towards center ice where it's carried there by McLaughlin. Plays it off the wall into the Calvin zone on the other side for Adrian, as we talked about. A 6-1 win for the Bulldogs a day ago. Took on Purdue Northwest. Pride were able to tie it at 1 in that game, but immediately after that turned into a one-sided affair. How about McLaughlin delivering the body early? Released it, delivered the body on the other side, and then a trip. A delayed call and a 2-on-1. Forehand save by Chaska. Able to knock that one down. Pratt had a lane, but couldn't capitalize as it's wrapped around the boards. Goalie is pulled. Calvin with an extra man. Is an upcoming tripping violation here against Adrian. It was Eaton who got out on a break and got upended there. Calvin on a charge through center ice and a touch from McLean. And a 2-minute infraction, first of the night. And it goes against the Bulldogs here in period 1 with 18:05 to go until the end. And what a great bit of confidence it gave Calvin earlier this season. So it'll actually be the aforementioned McLaughlin that'll skate off the ice. So first 2 minutes, a first man advantage for a tired Calvin team. Yet in a knockdown drag-out competition yesterday against Hope. Need all the help they can get against a very deep Adrian squad. 2-minute advantage on the tripping. Win back the draw here. And a wrister off the draw. Chaska save. Some hand checking in front. Excellent work though, pulling that one in. 17 wins this year. Save with the glove, and we continue play with 1:56 on the infraction. But Adrian had beaten Calvin 24 straight times, including that conference championship and the ACHA playoffs last year. Circling at the blue line, turnaround wrister, can't find its way through. Beaker decided to fire it on as opposed to dropping it off to Ickes, and it's back into the Calvin zone. Just over a minute and a half on the man advantage. Beaker carries it through center ice. Winds to the backhand where he leaves it for his teammate in Eaton, but chopped away from him quickly as they look to outlet it. Tried to find a cutting Smith, pressuring Ickes from behind. Ickes down to the ice. Ooh, and Smith able to take it away. Fedema has to paddle it out of the crease area. Early pressure from this forecheck for Adrian as they'll switch lines with 1:05 on the man advantage. But 24 straight times, 24 straight wins for Adrian, including that overtime winner and playoff win last year. Calvin fell in the first of 2 meetings against the two this season, but ended up beating them in the second of those 2 games. A 2-1 win Josh Petrusma talked about the importance of that. It just established that they can beat Adrian. This is a beatable team. And now one shot to do so here tonight and claim the title. Cheska, scoop. Out in front, holds on to it and stops play with 30 seconds, half minute to go on that penalty. But it was back on January the 23rd, a 2-1 win in that one for Calvin. Marshall Beaker, first period goal. Eaton, the man who was tripped up a little bit earlier to get this man advantage, the one who finished it off. The cherry on top in the third period of that game. It's scoreless so far, nearly 4 minutes into the first period of this championship match. Zimmerman wraps it around the goal off the backhand. Now he picks it up at the blue line, carries it to the Adrian bench where he looks ahead. Forehand, looking for the one-timer. Just wide of his captain who was waiting for it, and they're able to clear the zone. Vesperini couldn't find it, and that penalty will come to an end. So first test for the Adrian PK tonight, no problem. As they play it around the boards, Pratt there. Tries to scoop it back out towards center ice, but it stopped at the blue line. Bulldogs and those signature yellow unis here tonight, the mustard unis, those black numbers and the white lettering on the back. Rister, Fenema, save, chance on the rebound, and it can't get through. And a cross-check upcoming. Late call this time, works against Calvin. After the first 2 minutes, for Adrian, they gave it right back as Pratt will skate off the ice. We'll have to see how that plays for the remainder of this game. Calvin yesterday put themselves in a few compromising positions when it came to the infractions. At a 5-minute and a game misconduct late in that game, in the final 8 minutes, were able to escape, but can't do that against Adrian. Strasky or Rister, Fedema save as they try to jar it back out in front, and they are able to settle it. Keep it inside the blue zone. One back by Calvin and sent down. Petrula gets in front of it. Ickes trying to win the race and does. Wraps it back to center ice, nobody there. Trying to fire it back in is Nabozny. This PK unit has been exceptional this year, but a different story against this Adrian team. Allen, Rister, Fedema, a save. He's able to pull it in. And Calvin immediately collapsing on the goal to protect their guy. Allen being held up by a couple of different Knights. And the Bulldogs, well, they live by that mentality. Trying to barrel their way in there. Fenema holds on with 1:22 on the penalty and 15:01 to go in our opening period. But Fenema has been just as good. Again, the goalie a night ago, clean sheet, and that one 14 wins. Again, just over a 2.5 goals against average. McLaughlin can't feed it through. Hits the host of bodies in front before it's cleared out by the Knights. 50 seconds away on the penalty. But here inside of Patterson Ice Center, a place that has seen a couple of NHL players throughout the course of the years. Of course, the state of Michigan has dominated the sport of hockey this winter. Wrapped around the boards, back to the blue line where McLaughlin plays it with a backhand. Ooh, for a good chance. Looking for a one-time opportunity. It was Allen crossing to the far post. They are able to take it back. It's Reamer. Settles it at the circle. Reverses to McLaughlin at the blue line who looks ahead for a wrister that's knocked down. Calvin still can't clear the zone though. It's Allen. 30 seconds on the penalty. Shipped to the backboards where it's retrieved. Reamer with a lane. Reamer with a wrister and Fenema save. Got down with the kick save and sent it aside. A big hit in the corner, but it's played back out. A hustle play. Schrader shredding through some yellow and playing that one back out as Eaton wins it back. Looks for a one-time. Had Fonovich there, but can't get it through. Taken away at the post. Someone lost a stick, and nearly 7 minutes in, no score. Reagan. Pass through the middle, tries to play it off the backboards and retrieve it. It is played back to the blue line. And that front wall of black jerseys has been helping out Fedema so much tonight. It's reminiscent the way they were just a night ago against Hope. A brick wall in front. They've taken a ton of the pressure off of him early in this game. 6 shots for Calvin, just 2 on the other side for Adrian. Shots on target, that is. Weidman tries to steer it off to Turin. Kicks off his skate, and they'll take this moment to substitute a few new bodies on. But as mentioned earlier, again, the state of Michigan has been great on all levels in hockey this year. Petrula, Arister, up into the netting. Tracking him down as Mott stops play with 12:45 to go in our opening frame. But, I mean, where do we start when it comes to Michigan and hockey? Dylan Larkin, Quinn Hughes, Havlicek, all of them from the state of Michigan. And, of course, Megan Keller, the U.S. women's national team, getting the gold medal goal against Canada. Nabozny, she's from Farmington Hills. Griffin's best team in the NHL. Oh, a breakaway. Fedema save. A clean look, and Fedema denies it. Gajewski has it turned aside, and an icing called. A star-studded stop for Fedema. Keeps the game tied at 0 with 12:22 to play. And he has been great all year long, the sophomore out of Ontario. But it's not good enough to be just good against Adrian. You have to be great. And he was on that one. Stops it at the post. Another brush up here near side. Smith and Ickes. The intensity of this rivalry. I know we talked about Hope and Calvin yesterday, and you know, that dates back hundreds of years. Not hundreds, but over 100. 1888 when the MIAA was originally invented. Of course, Adrian was a part of that conference, still is a part of that conference. So that is the most heated rivalry, but between these two, with everything that happened a season ago, and of course their 1-1 split this year, adds layers to that rivalry. Looks like offsetting minors here for both the Bulldogs and the Knights. Ickes will head to the box. Smith will head to the box. And Calvin is going to have to play without their main goal scorer. Here for 2 minutes in a 4-on-4. In the one place you don't want Adrian College. 4-on-4 opportunity. They play fast. Trasky, one-timer. Oh, Fedema. Almost had to save that one, but it kicks wide of him. Strasky carries it around, looking to feed it back in front, and paddled away as it leads to a 3-on-2. Clayton, and an offsides. Ooh. Looked clean, and Clayton smashing his stick against the boards, frustrated. Thought that was a clean break for them, but it won't be. Face off with a minute 36 here on the Forest side, but we were talking about Fedema. Kind of Bowmanville, Ontario. The kid from Canada was exceptional before joining this team here at Calvin, and has really developed well from last year to this year, has taken a leap. Adrian and Brown. Arister can't get through. Fedema, 5-hole save. Check that. It's 8 shots on goal right now for Adrian. 2 on the other side for Calvin. Fedema, though. Another save, and it stops play here with a minute 16. We're talking a little bit about the coaching staff for Adrian. Of course, led by Gary Ostalas, who has been outstanding over a decade with the Bulldogs. McLaughlin kicks off his skate, but they're able to play it off the boards back his direction. Wind this one around the far boards as they try to play it to the post, and Fedema on top of it. Smith trying to carry it there and stops play. But as mentioned before, again, 3 ACHA national championships, 18, 21, and of course 2024, nearly repeat champions a season ago. But 7 total trips to the Frozen Four, and it's part of the reason why I think many would consider this the best hockey conference in the country. Paddled wide of Fedema. Off the backboards, 47 seconds in four-side hockey. Attempted wrister from the blue line, can't bleed through. Petrula able to get a stick on it. Calvin settles it in their defensive zone as they try to play it through the middle again. There was Petrula. Oh, and then it's knocked down Eaton. Forehand, Chaska save. Eaton a takeaway in the offensive zone. Advantageous, taking pucks away on the forehand. Zimmerman took a hit. Kinder, hard hit, nothing called as Eaton carries it back out north of the blue line and winds into his defensive zone, which jarred away. Final 3 seconds as we're back to five-a-side hockey. Come pouring off the bench, Strasky. Circles down in front of us. Tries to drop it off to McLean, but it's into the offensive zone where it's wrapped around there. Swooping in Mins. Feeds it on a knuckler behind the goal, and Strasky at the blue line. Plays it back around again where it's Mims to track it down in the corner. Tries to circle it off to a cutting Bulldog, but can't quite get it there. Now a wrister, Fedema, glove save. Keeps it scoreless inside of 10 minutes at 9:44. But for Gary Asalos at Adrian, 285, 28-4 overall record. And he's lost 2 games in conference. One of them coming to Calvin earlier this year. So if that shows you anything, should at least give this Calvin team a lot of confidence, and it has. They've played like it. Fedema able to hold the fort down in this first period, 9:27. And he's faced a bevy of shots already, 9 of them on target. He stopped all of them. Drop it off in the corner. Strasky stationed at the blue line. Instead, a turnaround wrister. Nearly redirected in. In the corner, they try to circle it. Back to Allen in front. Now taking right back for a backhand wide of Fedema. Circling. Again, a wraparound, and Fedema able to chip it up past the intended target. Around the boards it goes. Chipped away at it there. Adrian able to keep it in the zone. Looks almost kind of like a power play. They're just controlling play right now as this one's flipped up and out. Chaska stop it there and played it to Weidman. Does allow that Calvin unit, who was out on the ice for multiple minutes, finally get off and get a rest. Four-side hockey took it out of him a little bit. Fedema finds Pratt off the backhand. Kicks back out in front. They slice it to Eaton. The clue as it deflects up into the Calvin bench with 8:18 to go in our opening frame. But Peyton Chaska, that's we're on the topic of goalies. Could talk about him a little bit on the other side for Adrian. How exceptional has he been? The junior out of Dayton Valley, Alberta. Ooh, as we Petrula knocked the stick out of Weidman's hands. Now the referee's going to patiently invite him into the circle. And Ickes will go to battle here with Weidman. One back with McLaughlin, a wrister. Fedema not letting that one get by. Scoops it up off the ice here with 8:12 to go in the opening period. But Chaska Jr. again out of Dayton Valley, Alberta. Spent parts of 3 seasons in the Kootenay International Junior Hockey League, British Columbia Hockey League. He was a Manitoba Junior Hockey League before joining Adrian College in this ACHA D1 team. Everyone knows as Traz or Pete's. Known for his work ethic, sense of humor. Studies teacher education at Adrian. Was great as a freshman as well, just a 215 GAA. 6 wins too. Rister can't get through. Knocked down on its way through. Benedict carried it into a good spot but couldn't snipe it home. Inside of 8 minutes, now 7:38. Derman has it worked away. Benedict handling it, and it's set down on that hit. Great turnout for this matchup. Reamer off to Jamer. Jamer plays it back in front off the backhand, and Benedict got tied up with a Bulldog. No interference called. Ickes set down on that hit. And Adrian well aware that that's the man they have to take care of tonight. Jamer, one of the captains on the other end for this Adrian squad. Carries it himself to the bench where it's worked away. Ooh, and taken back in front, nearly carried to a goal-scoring spot for Schrader. Instead, they work it to the blue line instead with a wrister for Hooper. Can't get through. Reamer down to a knee and stops that puck from getting by. And now Reamer will get it and carry it himself past the blue line. Flip up into the offensive zone as they try to get new bodies on. Wilderman trying to chip it inside the post. We've seen that before. We've seen that in the Olympics as well. Sometimes that little area now getting caught off guard on the switch, and they're somehow able to block it. A second try on the one time. Wilderman no luck. Eaton wraps it around to the far side. Trying to win this one back. It's Pratt that wins it away for the Bulldogs. Nearly entering the final quarter of this first period. Flipped up the boards where it's grabbed there. Settled down in the middle. Now blue line wrister. Fedema's save. Open goal on the rebound, but they can't get one on. Eaton fighting for the puck. Finally emerges in the corner. 10 shots on goal in this first period. And now a delayed whistle. And I believe Adrian will have another man advantage here. Eaton over arguing with the referee. Talking to Josh Petruzma at the moment. And it'll be a 2-minute penalty. They're saying for number 29 and Fedema. Ooh, so take that back. It wasn't Eaton. It was actually Fedema. We got Wilderman on the way past. Ooh, so a little frustration reaction from the goaltender. And now having to serve 2 minutes because of it. So second minor infraction of this first period for Calvin. And Fedema, after what's been an unbelievable first period, 10 saves. Now maybe putting his team in a compromising position. Pratt chasing it into the corner. Petrula in a jousting match with Smith, finally able to work it out past the blue line. Ickes trying to fight the puck back, 5:22 in the opening frame. What has been a busy week all around here at Patterson Ice Center. Now check that, interference, wasn't a slash, it was interference. Raymer slammed against the boards, but still able to keep his feet. Trying to play it back to the blue line, and Calvin able to clear it out. So swoop in behind net here. Adrian College got off to a hot start yesterday. They got the first goal of that game, where Purdue Northwest was able to tie it up. This is a team that is not used to playing from behind. They like to start strong. They're trying to do that here. Hooper able to play it out. Dribbles it down the ice on the backhand with 45 seconds on the man advantage. Allen carries it through center ice, weaves to the front hand. Allen, wrap around. Oh, and nearly feeds it past Fedema. Able to block off the options as they fling it to the opposite end and drop it off at the blue line. Strasky Arister well up high into the netting. And give credit where it's due to Calvin tonight, putting their body on the line. Fonovich that time. Now 22 seconds on the man advantage. But the Great Lakes 6 playing their conference tournament here this week. Of course, it didn't start here. It was more regional, and then it came here for the semifinal round just a day ago. What a great couple of games it was. And I know there was a hope that the Great Lakes 6 would become as great as it has in just the first 2 seasons. Again, every team, pretty much every team in the top 25. Tough to argue about that. Even the team whose home rink is here, Davenport, finished in the 23rd this year. Clayton, ooh, nice little drop off. Just can't get one on line. Schrader has that one deflected into the netting. Here with 3:24 to play. Well, as we said a little bit earlier, hello to everyone joining us on YouTube tonight. We hope you enjoy Canada v. United States. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. sharp. So hopefully you have your coffees and whatever else you need ready. Be up to watch that game. It's a far cry from what it was in Vancouver when they played for the gold medal. Strasky trying to knock that one out of the sky right in front of the goal. That was in Vancouver, of course, so a little bit different of a story. That was prime time. Penalty is over. Back to 5-a-side hockey. Here with just 3 minutes remaining. But I can almost guarantee you every man on the ice here tonight is going to be watching that one at 8 a.m. Means a little bit more here in the U.S. in hockey anytime you get a chance to play Canada. Friendly neighbors, but not on the ice. Ickes looks back to center ice. Benedict can't get a grip on it. 2:37. One that's thrown forward. Chesta doesn't have to worry about it. Knocked down at center ice as it's dropped off to Ickes for a wrister. Chesta knocking it down with the glove. Approaching the 2-minute warning. Now just 2 minutes and 20 seconds. As Allen flicks it to the opposite end. Trying to track this one down is Beaker. As he shuts off the option for the Bulldogs, and Hooper will nudge it to center ice. Wide of the intended target in Fonovich, who's trying to find a breakaway here for Calvin. In the waning moments of period 1, Allen throws it off the backhand to Smith, who tries to chip it in front of net. Ends up getting held up there. Now they are able to play it back. Just able to keep it in. Wrister, no. Rebound chance. It's in! Knocked down by the pile of bodies, and then Smith found it on the rebound. And Adrian strikes first. So first blood, and this one goes to Adrian with 1:38 to go in the first period. And it's Sebastian Smith. Guess who? No surprise there for Adrian. He has been magnificent. The first player on this Bulldogs team to reach 20 goals this season. Wrister can't find its way through. Kicks into the corner. 20 goals, 19 assists, and now the point leader for this top 10 Adrian Bulldog squad. Flung into the offensive zone here for Calvin. Just 60 seconds remaining in our opening period as Clayton tries to track it down there, and it's one back here by the Bulldogs. Menz plays it into the middle where it's tapped into the corner, then back to him as he's nearly able to spray it past Fatima. Turns it aside. Ickes trying to guide it out past the line. Just 40 seconds left. Adrian trying to get one more before it's all said and done. Ooh, to Claw. What a move. To the backhand, but lost handle on it. Ickes tries to fight through center ice. Shut off there in front of the Adrian bench. Mosny has it knocked down. Wildeman with it in the corner, turned away there. And a pile of bodies as Petrula tries to take it away from Ickes. Back and forth they go. Ickes tied up on the ice. And that'll be the end of period one. Sebastian Smith with his 20th goal of the 25-26 campaign, and it's a 1-0 lead for Adrian as we head to the intermission. Some jeering and yelling back and forth. Marley yelling across at the Knights. Sets up for an exciting period two. It's the Bulldogs with a 1-0 lead. We come back here on YouTube. good. 20 minutes aside and only one goal to speak of. Sebastian Smith becoming the first Adrian Bulldog this year to reach 20 goals in number one. Back with just a minute 38 to go in that first period as they carry a 1-0 lead into the second of this Great Lakes 6 championship matchup between Calvin and Adrian. Welcome back in YouTube tonight. In our presentation, here a rematch of last year's Great Lakes 6 championship game. This one swatted away from in front of net, and Petrula, and who had a goal in that win yesterday for Hope, the lone goal in that matchup between those two bitter rivals. As that one ripped away off of his stick as Ickes will swerve his way in back behind net. Adrian had a couple of power plays in that first period, did not capitalize on either of them, but they have put Calvin in some compromising positions already. Again, 12 total shots on goal for Adrian in this matchup, 4 on the other side for Calvin. Just in general, they have controlled the puck in possession here tonight. Flung into the Calvin zone, looking to run after it. Pratt will rattle it around the boards to Vesperini. As that one taken away by Allen. Chopped into the Adrian zone. Eaton trying to pursue it there. Delivers a check as Smith will joust over it. Finds its way back to the blue line, and it looks like a cross check. And will this go against Calvin? It will. So some play away from the blue line, and that will send Eaton to the penalty box. So a cross check. Now a chance to double up that lead. A bad break after the graduate student out of Pinckney, Michigan, and Sebastian Smith put him ahead. Now a man advantage in just under 2 minutes into our penultimate period tonight. A cross check leads to nearly an opportunity in front. Carried all the way there by Jamer, but can't complete the chance. Calvin trying to clear the zone. McLaughlin excellent in keeping it in. Finds Raymer, wrist shot saved in front. Rebound chance kicked aside. Fedema just quick enough to get the blocker on it. Allows Calvin to switch new bodies on. Almost 2 minutes gone in the second period. But Sebastian Smith has been excellent. Again, the kid out of Pinckney, Michigan, down on the south side of the state. 4 seasons at Pinckney High School. Before playing in the United States Prospect Hockey League for the Worcester Oilers prior committing to Adrian. And an offsides here against the Bulldogs. Knights have killed off 56 seconds of that penalty. Just under 18 to go in the second period. As a senior, Smith carried the Bulldogs all season, leading the team in points, guiding them back to the national championship game, and of course has repeated that again this year. He was third team All-American in the ACHA last season. Ickes, ooh, what a takeaway off the draw. Looks to throw one on with the front hand short-handed, but knifed away from him inside of a minute on that penalty. 51 seconds. Mims cuts it down shy of the blue line and then looks back towards center ice. Ickes, a takeaway in the defensive zone. Juski there. Plays it off the backhand to Strasky at the blue line. Who keeps it in for Gajewski. Front hand, no. Fedema save on the rebound. The man right in front couldn't put it through. That was DeClue, and slowly off the ice. Ooh, and a dive back into the bench area. In front, backhand wide of the intended target. It was Allen right there, but couldn't net it as Calvin clears the zone. Now just 10 seconds remaining. And a little bit of concern. Pekaloo back to the bench area, and again, a dive into the bench. We're going to have to check him out. Another one of those point leaders on this Adrian team. Top 4 on the squad. For the meantime, Whitterman throws it to the far side, and that one tapped wide of the intended target. Fedema doesn't have to worry about it. And back to five-a-side hockey is Hooper. Can't win the race. Stride for stride, but just a half second too late. Stops the play 16:25 in period 2. But Sebastian Smith is nicknamed. It's one of the things I like about this Adrian College website, this hockey team. They have their nicknames on here. They call him Bubba. He's actually a dual sport athlete at Adrian College. Also plays on the men's tennis team as well. So Mr. Do-It-All and Sebastian Smith. Hooper wins the race down the ice, but Adrian College takes it back. It's Adamick. Ooh, tries to play it along further, but it's taken away. Turin sent aside. Eaton got his stick on it. A one-on-one chance, but he's able to direct that one wide of net. Smith swoops in for the Bulldogs in the defensive zone and drops it off for Jamer in the middle. An offsides play for Adrian, forcing them to retreat. As Brown will wrap it around. Adamich will squeeze Reamer against the boards. Now Reamer on the backhand. Tries to drop it off to the blue line, but it's taken away by Calvin. Clayton on a run. And chopped away from him. Switching new lines on has been a struggle tonight for Calvin. There have been a few different lines that have had to work overtime. Reamer, a takeaway. Reamer drops it off, and they bang it home. 1-2-3, and Whitteman caps it off for the Bulldogs. Blake Weidman. One from Michigan, the other from Canada. And it's Weidman who doubles the lead for the Bulldogs. 2-0 here with 15-17. And we talked about how spread out this offense is. They can get it from so many different components. And Blake Weidman, just the most recent example of that. Weidman, number 19 in terms of goals this season for Adrian. Go along with 9 assists this year. Petrula. Oh, off to Ickes in the middle, and it's blocked. Can't quite get it there. Puck loose in front, taken back here. Rister can't get through. Chaska trying to make the save on the rebound. Puck gets loose, and they can't direct it on. Benedict was there. And icing waved off here as Fedema will stop it. Drop it off to Pratt. Ooh, and Gajewski a takeaway. Bad spot for it, and Pratt slices it off the stick of the charging Bulldog. 3-on-2, up and down we go like a NASCAR race. Backhand Hooper. Can't get through. Chaska denial with the glove. And Calvin taking that last goal personally, charging down aggressive on the forecheck, looking for takeaways. Nearly put them out of position for a moment there, but were able to bounce back. Blake Weidman, the junior, on the last goal for Adrian. 2-0 the lead with 13:41 to go. Almost a bad turnover there, Hooper. Feeds it ahead. Cicino. Into the corner as he looks to drop it back off for Fanovic. Knuckled end over end back towards center ice, where it's retrieved there. Trying to force it back to the middle that time. Regan can't quite get it on target. So work it in up north of the blue line, and Regan will play it off the boards to himself. Swoops in behind. Eyes it back to the line, but taken away. Slapping away at it at both sides as Clayton has it ripped free of him. Now carrying it in on the backhand, turned aside. McLaughlin, a good carry. Fedema even better on the kick save. He's held up his side of the bargain tonight. Adrian has just been constant in the pressure they have been applying. Through the middle of the ice, Fanovic can't get a glove on it. Calvin will be able to change lines though as this kicks up into the netting. Stops play with 12 and some change to go. Blake Weidman on that second goal from Ontario, Canada. 3+ seasons in the Greater Ontario Junior League. Stratford Warriors. Kitchener-Waterloo Siskins before joining Adrian in 2023. Everyone knows him as Whitey. Loves setting the tone. Studying sports management, might become a part of the coaching staff. You never know. That seems like a natural transition. Hooper tries to jar it in the near post, won't go. As the Bulldogs will run with it. Marty. Take it away from Adamich off his stick. Punches it back towards center ice. And offsides. Stops play with 12-16. Well, a spirited group of Calvin fans showing up here tonight. Calvin University, of course, not that far of a drive away from where we are here at Patterson Ice Center. Again, these two programs in other sports, a part of the MIAA conference. As we were explaining yesterday on the Hope v. Calvin broadcast, the oldest college conference in the United States. Turin looking to turn this into a 3-0 lead, but Pratt there as Petrula will skate with it into the offensive zone. Wraps it around the boards. Chaska doesn't have to worry about it. As Benedict tries to chop it back in off the backhand, and Adrian will clear the zone to center ice. Nearly halfway through the second period and halfway through this Great Lakes 6 championship game. Adrian holding a 2-0 lead in search of back-to-back conference championships. Chaska didn't see that one coming through to him, but is able to kick it away either way. As Fedema will meet this one out in front of the goal. Fires it off to Ickes, who will steer it into the offensive zone. Ooh, and drag, looking for a one-timer, but can't get through. Dragged his way past the defender, but couldn't put one on for a one-timer as it's covered up and play will stop. Stephen Ickes, are you kidding? Added on a string, just couldn't complete the play, and I know that Calvin wants to see him get involved in terms of scoring goals in this championship game. Again, had an assist yesterday. But all athletic first team in the ACHA just last year. He's another Michigan product, Marine City, Michigan. Smith, taken away from him as Fedema takes it off the chest. Puts it down on the ice here for Nabozny. Skies it to Fonovich in the offensive zone. Call this one an icing. Maybe they say he didn't get a touch on it here. That's like Calvin trying to play kind of an aggressive dump and chase game. Hands up by his sides over on the Calvin bench. Head coach Josh Petrusma in his first season as the head coach and the head man here at Calvin, taking over for his dad in Mike Petrusma. More on that in a moment. McLeod on a 2-on-2. Flares it wide of the goal off the backhand, looking to play it to the middle for a one-timer. Can't connect. As Hooper looks to chase it down. Ooh, and it's one backhand wide, scooped out. Just wide of the intended target, Regan, that is. Straightaway opportunity in front of net. Icing waved off. Here with 10:20 to go in our second period. McLeod doing a little cherry picking as Regan comes through with it. Fenema will carry it up, or cover it up rather. But Josh Petrusma, it was in November that Josh took over as interim director after the untimely death of his father, Calvin ACHA hockey director Mike Petrusma. Elder Petrusma had built the Calvin hockey program for 28 years, including the expansion into 2 different ACHA levels. Josh was serving as an assistant coach under his dad, but after his father's passing, took the reins as the lead man. So playing this season for Mike, this one's tattooed around Fenema in goal. And they have a hill to climb, but not undoable. Clayton, wrister, save by Chesta. And the Canadian has not been tested a lot in goal tonight, but a good response on that wrister. Makes his 6th save and keeps it A 2-0 lead for Adrian with 9:47 to play. But Josh Petrusma not changing the identity in becoming the head coach of this Calvin program, rather just continuing the path that his dad laid out for him. And again, it has done wonderfully for Calvin. Offsides will lead to another face-off. But there was never any issues in terms of the identity and the work ethic and the way they go about their business. It's just one of those things in every conference. Sometimes you have the team that you need to get over. You can argue in the SEC, maybe it's Alabama or Georgia. In the Big Ten, it's Ohio State. There's always that team you have to get past. And in the Great Lakes 6 here in hockey, it's Adrian. No one said it was going to be easy. Pratt on an icing call there and a face-off inside of 10 at 9:31. But the reality is, with the conference prestige where it is, you are going to add more talent across the board. Everyone's going to get better. Hope, Davenport, Calvin, Adrian. So we'll probably not remain Adrian's conference. You never know what the future might hold. Ickes drops it off. Oh, and Benedict nearly bangs it home on the one-timer. Can't get through the pile of bodies. A whistle sounds. A couple of different players maybe caught up in each other's equipment here. It's a stick. Gets spiked out of the hands of Ickes. Marley also got his stick chopped out as well. And a little punk rock. Little early 2000s rock. Feels like it fits the vibe. Breakaway chance. Weidman, no! Turned away by Fedema. Tried to go 5-hole, didn't work. How about the second time around? Weidman, as that one jarred away from his stick, is Petrula able to swoop in and take it. Flings it up through center ice along the backboards where Benedict will track it down and drop it off for a one-time chance. Ickes sends it wide. Now one back by Adrian as he'll fight it out, and McLaughlin will carry it to center ice. Played off his chest. He inches it along on the backhand. Ooh, and then slipping down to the ice. Zim, not meaning to hit the deck, but did. Did they get a touch on this one? Looks like they didn't. Hooper unable to get contact on that puck in the neutral zone. But Calvin, in a lot of ways yesterday, kind of defied the odds against Hope. Last two games against that team, they had given up 9 goals against that squad. So now trying to defy the odds and pull off a 2-goal comeback victory against an Adrian team that has only lost 2 games in the ACHA in conference over the course of the last decade. It's a little hard to believe. Of course, they've only been in the Great Lakes 6 for 2 years. Turin looks back to the center, has Reamer there. Can't make a clean connection, but Reamer is able to swat it onto his stick as Turin plays it in front. Collected there by Sassino as they find Nabozny. Steers it in the middle. Adamic breaks it down. Backhand turned away by Chaska. Adamic again, a wrister that's kicked up high of the goal. Hooper tried to catch it on the deflection on the way in. Bottleneck in the corner. As Adamic will turn and fire it back in for Calvin. Approaching just 7 minutes to go in our penultimate period tonight. It's a late one, but we're happy to have you on here on YouTube. On the eve of the biggest hockey game this country has seen since the 2010 Winter Olympics. The U.S. faced off against Canada, and I said this to a couple of different people coming into this game. It kind of felt like that a little bit for Calvin. It was the vengeance game. But now being forced, Josh Petrusma and this team to dig deep and find what's in them. Eaton, wrister, Chaska, save, rebound chance, kicked aside. Able to address that as it was loose in front. Mott took care of the threat. So Eaton will swat it into the offensive zone with 6.5 to play. Clayton looking for it on the wraparound around the goal as it's played off the boards. Regan a smart play. 3-on-2 and in between the legs of a charging McLeod. Leads to a 3-on-2 the other way. Clayton, wrister, Chaska save. Catching that one like a catcher in Major League Baseball. Got the slider and was able to frame it on the outside edge to get strike 3. Keeps it just a 2-0 lead here for Adrian. But Calvin starting to maybe catch up a little bit in those shots. Finally into double digits, 10 shots on tonight, but and it's just been so hard to get anything past Chaska. Also take a look at our updated top 25 rankings in the ACHA. More on that coming up here in a moment. Chaska covers it up, and now the moment has arrived. But the most recent rankings, again, 2 more top 25 rankings in the ACHA will be released this year. 1 more, and then the final rankings. But Adrian, number 9, Calvin, number 10, and Hope was number 14 before their loss yesterday here against this Calvin team. Will probably drop a little bit, but my guess is they'll probably still find themselves in the tournament at the end of the day. Ickes. Interception. Stalled just long enough so that Adrian can play this one back out to center ice. Allen. Ho-ho! And then a big-time collision. Benedict got blasted by Smith. That one flicks up and out of play. Some oohs and ahs, and the Adrian bench loving that. And a face-off at the small circle in front of that Adrian bench. Purdue Northwest was number 16, Grand Valley State 19. Davenport 23. Again, all in the Great Lakes 6. Middle State, right now number 1 in the country. The MCH. Zimmerman. Ooh. Didn't mean to do that. But Ickes forced to play it in, and then look at this. A tripping. Wow, didn't mean to trip him up on the way past, but Brow, or rather, correction on that one. Marty ended up scooping up Ickes off the ice on his way past, and a little break here for Calvin. An emotionally led moment after that last check. But Marley ends up tripping up Ickes, and now Calvin. 2 minutes on the penalty with 5:34 to go. Can cut that lead in half. Face off, won by the Knights. In the corner, Riverton worked off the puck. Eaton there chopping away at it as well. As it draws a crowd in behind the net and finally played out by Adrian down the length of the ice. So a tripping penalty means a minute 38 now on the man advantage for Calvin. As Beaker finds a cutting Eaton at center ice, but worked off the puck quickly. This Adrian defense has been sweltering tonight. It's been in spurts for Calvin, but can they put together a sustained attack? They cut that lead in half. Ickes taken away. And a smash of the stick against the boards. Frustrated with the lack of production from this power play unit tonight. Third opportunity. And nothing to speak of. Baker carries it past the defender, trying to work it to the backhand as Benedict will swoop in and take it. Into the corner. A full head of steam around the goal, being pressured by Allen there and shut off properly. Pinned up against the far boards of 45 seconds on the man advantage of 4:17 in the second period. Calvin chopping away at it. Finally, they're able to work it free. Petrula has an opening. Circles it to Baker. Baker off to Benedict. Wrist shot knocked down. Out there in front. Now Eaton taken away. Not much you can do when the PK unit is working quite like that. Fedema has to deal with a charging Bulldog that time as Pratt will wrap it around the boards with 9 seconds to go on the penalty. And a tie-up on the far side as Turin takes the stick from Pratt. Now Zimmerman, Arister, Cheska, save. Easy with the glove, and he'll just hold on to it with 3.5 to play. And I guess the analogy that I would use for this Adrian team really in a lot of ways is not a boa constructor. They are a deep team. They are built to succeed. What just seems like line after line is going to continue to give you heartaches. Won by Calvin. Punched in back behind the goals. They flared around the net. Here with 3:20 to go in the second period. And Adrian on a mission. Yes, to win the Great Lakes 6, but, you know, the goal is always bigger than that. I feel like when it comes to the Bulldogs. Dreams of winning that national championship and getting back to that point. After following University of Nevada, Las Vegas a year ago. That was a very good UNLV team, but I don't know about 7 goals in the championship good. It's a bitter taste in the mouth of this Adrian squad. 2:45 in the second period. Flicked up past center ice, McLeod there, but knocked down by Hooper as it's ripped right back. Regan has been great, looking for his first. Works it off the boards and drops it off in the middle, but Allen has it taken away. Vonovich skies it behind goal where Chaska will settle things down here for Adrian. Flares it to Regan, who steers it back towards center ice, and Allen has that one go wide of his stick. Adamich takes the body here near side. Now played up, right back. Into the offensive zone here for Adrian. A blow delivered there as Hooper pulls it in. He does have Benedict at center ice. Benedict into the onside position. Calvin carrying it in, looking for Ickes in the middle. Can't quite get it there though. Beaker unable to feed it in, and now another delayed call. So man advantage for Calvin. That will be their 4th opportunity for the power play unit here tonight. Skajewski will skate off. Didn't see what that one was initially. Regardless, the remainder of this period will be played on the power play. Chaska, wow, what a save. Snags it out of midair with a minute 53 on the advantage. Minute 36 to go in the period. So one way or another, Calvin will close it out here on the man advantage, and reminiscent of the game last night against Hope, simply because despite maybe the lack of productivity, they're still in the fight. 2 goals. We've seen more than that from Calvin before. One of the highest scoring squads in the Great Lakes 6 this year. Pratt plays it in on the backhand. As now it's worked back by Calvin as they try to find it at the blue line and do. As they drop it right back off to Pratt. Off to Zim. Circles at the blue line. Zimmerman in the middle, no. Second chance, Pratt off the post. Benedict Arister can't get through. And they're arguing that one was in the back of the net. Looked like it went off the post. Pratt, golden opportunity on the rebound, and just spikes it off the woodwork. Ickes a touch on that one as it pours into the offensive zone. And they'll stop play on the icing. Maybe you didn't get a touch on it. 44.1 to play. And that last one, you know, you never know when it comes off the post the way that it did. There have been situations in which it hits the post, yes, but it was across the line. Of course, There's no real way of knowing. So Calvin, a near opportunity, but it doesn't count for anything. 58 seconds on the penalty, but 38 to go in the period. Eaton circles in his defensive zone before working it to the backhand. Flares it off the boards to his left. Into the corner it goes. Adrian will try and pile it up there. And instead they play it out where it's stopped by Fedema, and maybe a chance for one last charge for the Knights, who have been held scoreless through 2 periods. Petrula. And Arister kicked up by Chaska and out of play. Reardon rearing back and trying to blast that one past Chaska. And how about Calvin? Really fighting their way back into a good position, 17-13. They've held Adrian without a shot for a while. Starting to close that gap, but nothing in the back of the net. Weidman with the second goal of this period. Got that one with 15-17 to go, and it makes it a 2-0 lead for Adrian. 20 minutes left to try and become repeat champions in the all-new Great Lakes 6 Conference. That's coming up on the other end of this intermission here on YouTube. Well, the race to the Great Lakes 6 championship comes to the final period. 20 minutes to decide our champion, and here we go. Draw one back by Calvin. Just 10 seconds to go on that penalty. 2 goals in this game for the Bulldogs, 1 in each period tonight. Rister, just up over the head of Zaska. Ickes caught it off the boards but couldn't put it in the back of the net. Played right back in here by Calvin. The Claw, who we saw go down earlier with an apparent injury, back to his skates and looking better, looking healthy here in this third period. So they fling it back towards center ice. Benedict got a tap on it. Fedema forced to play it out. Settled right back down there, but it was a goal in the first period from Smith with 1:38 to go. Put Adrian on top with that goal, and then in the second period, just under 5 minutes in, it was Weidman. Made it a 2-0 lead in favor of the Bulldogs. And a couple of different opportunities, a lot of time in the box during that second period for Adrian. In total, 6 total penalty minutes. But this Calvin power play unit has not had any answers. Frankly, they haven't had any answers for Adrian tonight. They have closed the gap in terms of shots on goal, just 4 separating these two. But Adrian still controlling possession and controlling the opportunities. McLaughlin feeds it past Pratt into the corner where it's ripped back by the Knights and flared out to center ice. Iskinder. Go back and forth with him as he settles it in the circle. Gajewski off to his left but flares it to the middle where Clayton will carry it into the offensive zone. Eaton tracking it down there. Clayton ripped away from him. Eaton rips it back in the corner before he rattles it around here to the near side. The Bosnia touch on it. Vesperini has it knocked down. Allen winds to the front hand. Looks back near side. Ooh, what a find! But it doesn't end up going in. Smith saw a chance for a second, and it leads to an on-man rush for Calvin. Rister, Zaska sees that one whistle past. Beaker unable to direct it on. Now Smith leads to a 2-on-1. Smith, a backhand. Poked away by Fedema with the paddle. Some cheers on the Adrian side. Regan unable to catch it. Stop shy of the blue line. Impassioned speeches, I'm sure, on both sides during that intermission. Josh Petruzma trying to see this Calvin team just one last final push. Again, we talked about Adrian being the team. They have to get over the hump. And they got just inside of 17 minutes left to do that. Fedema, ooh, what a find. Ickes into the offensive zone, shut off there. Just so hard. It's that final pass tonight that just has not been connecting for Calvin. They've had good runs. They've had odd man rushes. They are just not finding that last connecting pass, and a lot of this thanks to the pressure that Adrian has done in taking that off, the pressure off of their goaltender and Chaska. They've just been so exceptional in that way tonight. Rister stopped. The save that time from Fedema, his 17th in this one tonight. Lead stays at 2-0. Some of the other college conferences also having their tournaments inside of Patterson. Great Lakes Collegiate Hockey League having their tournament as well. Saw some of those teams playing as well as playing earlier here today. So the primetime game reserved for Adrian and Calvin. Two programs that have been playing hockey for a handful of years now. Adrian for a long time. Calvin also has a pretty long history of playing. But again, infants in terms of the Great Lakes 6. Brand new conference. And again, it's been Adrian's conference all year. Trying to cement that tonight here in 25-26. Able to be worked out of the zone. Hooper, who tried to get a skate on it. And there's another example. That last pass just has not been there. Underneath the skate of Hooper. Back down the link we go with 15:50 to play in our third period. Adrian. Shuffling one in front. Jamer, no one there on the receiving end for the Bulldogs. And a delayed call here against Calvin. Turin tried to feed one on that time. And a call here against Calvin, and it will be, looks like Darmenoff to head to the penalty box. After a clean period in period number 2 in which they stayed out of the box, Darmenoff will step off. Now a man advantage, and Adrian can drive that dagger in a little bit deeper here in this third period. Can they make it a hat trick? Referees getting sick of the face-off antics. Trying to sort it out here as this one's wrapped around the boards where Petrula will try to direct it to Ickes. And a whistle that stops play. Now minute 54 to go on that penalty, 15:31 in this third period. Here at the home of Davenport Panthers during the regular season, Patterson Ice Center. Darmenoff on a cross check for Davenport. Settled in behind net where they look to set something up the other direction. A third goal here would go a long way in starting to put this one away. DeClue gets laid out. The Bosny got him with the hip check. Inside of 15, it's Allen who carries it across the blue line. The Bosny there tries to lay the blow. Oh, and then he rips his helmet off. Allen ends up losing his bucket. Referees will whistle that play dead. Allen will skate back to the bench here for Adrian. They don't end up assessing a penalty here. Instead, it'll still be 5-on-4 here with a minute 04 to play. Just sorting that out, stopping that play there as it's launched into the zone where Chaska will scoop it and place it. And Adrian will go to work with 51 seconds on that penalty remaining. McLaughlin finds Reamer. Carries himself into the offensive zone, tries to drop it back to the blue line, but McLaughlin forced to retreat into the defensive end. And then taken away again by Calvin. Stop in to work it out of the zone, McLaughlin. Not really concerned about forcing it on this power play either. Clearly more of a concentrated effort to take it slow and be methodical on their way up the ice as Smith plays it off the boards. Swoops around and looks back to the front of the goal. Turnaround wrister. Ooh, a good deflection. But Fatima just better. Didn't let that one skip past him. Back to five-a-side hockey. Almost halfway through our third and final period tonight. It's been all Adrian. 2-0 the lead. But Calvin doing enough to keep themselves in the conversation. Fatima catches that fastball at his face and places it down as they throw it to Ickes shy of the blue line. But turned around off his skate and rattled back in by Adrian. Met 2 times during the regular season, finished in a 1-1 draw. Calvin has been flirting with getting to that level and getting to a national championship and maybe even winning one. Benedict Tosses it to Ickes, but can't connect on the one-timer, so he drops it off to Benedict. As Ickes will swoop back in for it. Has options at the blue line. Rister over the head of Chaska and out of play. Zimmerman threw it towards the net, up over everything and into the netting. But I know last year that hosted part of the ACHA regionals inside of this building. Here at Patterson Ice Center, I talked about some of the history inside of this place. Cecilio, Rister, Chaska, save. Looked like an open opportunity on the rebound, but unable to get there is Smith. Ooh, almost got it on a cut right to the net. But instead it's thrown in by Calvin, but Luke Glendenning, the Detroit Red Wings, played his high school hockey inside of this building for East Grand Rapids. It's Mike Knuble, played at East Kentwood, also played inside of this building. Not for East Grand Rapids, but he played in this building. And who can forget all the other players who have ties to Michigan, who more than likely at one point or another have had a game here inside of Patterson Ice Center. They have a display case right in front of where you walk into the building as all the different national teams, as well as all the different prominent college players who have had a chance, whether the East Rink or the West Rink. They got two of them here at Patterson. Rayner ripped away from him, back towards center ice is McLaughlin. Tries to play it in on the front hand, and Turin will carry it himself. 11:25 in our final period tonight. Shot separated by just 5, and a turnover, and a bad one. Rister, save, Fedema. Raymer with a prime scoring position, and Fedema punches it away with the open stick. Stops that play back in, Calvin. Whether by hook or by crook, need to find some offense here. Looked like an icing, but they got a touch on the way in. Skirts back out to center ice where Benedict will find a cutting Adamich. And Beaker arrows it off the boards as Ickes is unable to settle it down, and McLeod will take it himself. There's a certain air of confidence around this Adrian team. During that intermission, they believed it could be up a few more goals if it wasn't for the amount of time they spent in the box. They've yet to spend any time in the box this period, minus the first couple of seconds. The bleed over from period 2. Estrella said they needed to play a better game, a cleaner game, and they've done that. Now can they find the dagger? Regan wraps around the defensive pressure. Drops it off to the boards to his left as it's fought back out to center ice by the Knights. As we bleed inside at 10 minutes now at 9:55. Raymer, touch on it on its way in. They call for an icing, and they'll end up getting it. Excuse me, that was Petrula on the touch. They face off here with 9:39 in the closing period. Again, the ACHA Regionals coming up after the conclusion of this Great Lakes 6 tournament. Again, the mission does not stop. And this is an Adrian Bulldogs program that has gotten to a point now to where conference championships, not that they mean less, but that never really is the goal year in and year out. You know you're doing something right as a program when championship or bust has officially become the mentality. But that's where Adrian is. Fedema knocks down that chance. Adamich can't knock it down for Calvin, so they play it around the boards. Wrap it to center ice in that mid-stripe. Nabozny, set down. Taking care of him is Weidman. A chase into the offensive zone. McLeod tries to wrap one off the backhand. No black jerseys there. So it's Eaton at center ice with it instead. Chaska able to get on top of it. Draw one back by Adrian, 8:50 to go in our final period. What looked like an icing there, but it's waved off as they win the race. Ooh, looking to play it back. Allen was right there. Just couldn't pull it in. And the speed from Adrian playing a role. And it leads to our third goal. And guess who? It's Smith with his second tonight. 21 on the season as they drive the dagger a little bit deeper. It's a 3 spot and a 3-0 lead over Calvin. And while coming into this period, there was a sense that they weren't out of the fight quite yet. The air kind of coming out of their sails. Petrula can't sneak it past Chaska. Kick save. As Jamer can't find it. And Brett with a wrister that's wide of the net. Sebastian Smith, the kid out of Pinckney, Michigan, with a pair tonight. Tie up as Chaska gets on top of it with 8:14 to go in our closing period tonight. And I know that in the sport of baseball, they used to call the New York Yankees the evil empire because they were the evil empire, kind of like how the Dodgers are now. They just had the best players. They always won. They were always the team to beat in Major League Baseball for decades and decades. Ask your grandfather about it. As Jamer flares this one into the offensive zone with 7:59 to go. Icing is called inside of 8 minutes. But they called them that because they just continued to win, and they won World Series all the times. They were the evil empire. On the Great Lakes 6, I think we know who the evil empire is. Another man advantage here for Adrian. I did not catch that one before it happened. Maybe a frustration penalty here. Petrula sits on in the sin bin for the next 2 minutes. We'll wait to see what the explanation is. Hooper. Wrister just north of the blue line. Ooh, taken in. How about a wraparound? Vanovich after the save. And 12 seconds into the penalty kill, Calvin is on the board. Wow, and a bad break leads to a goal for Calvin on the PK. A look at the Calvin bench here. Referees discussing something on the far side. But right when you thought they were out of the fight on the penalty kill, they're still able to come out and score a goal on that wraparound shot by Vanovich. What a moment to come up big, too, if you're Calvin. For Vanovich, that's just goal number 9 on the season. There's you get a look at the replay. Just right place, right time. Smith continuing the argument here, but it's rare that you beat a goaltender like Chaska. But was just a little bit too far out of position when Vanovich got to that puck. And still kind of confused as to what the conversation is right now. Smith over there, Vesperini also having a conversation. Is there still a minute 48 to go on this man advantage for Adrian? And, well, at least Calvin made it interesting. You can certainly say that. Vanovich with goal number 9. And now this just got a little more interesting. 2-on-1 Smith off the faceoff. Sent away by Calvin out of the defensive zone. Smith ended up getting tangled up, minute 33 on the man advantage. I'll tell you what, Calvin could have used that one a little bit earlier in the period. You're waiting for maybe a break to go their direction. Ickes to center ice as it's thrown right back in, and Ickes will try to catch up to it on the back end. Ooh, knocked away from behind. Can't quite hold on to it as Adrian's able to pull it back in. Being extremely aggressive on the PK is Calvin. No choice now. Skipped up over the head of Ickes, who's able to get there and plays it out. Eaton trying to win the race. Still trying to chop it away. Eaton wins it back. Winds his way into the blue line. And spikes it in the defensive zone for Calvin. As they try to waste away a few more of those seconds. 38 to go now on that penalty. Adamich. No help on the back end. Couple of Calvin bodies stationed out past the blue line. Now with 30 seconds to go on that penalty. And some of that Adrian energy that we saw early in this game starting to die off a little bit. Calvin, one last surge here in this third period and trying to get back into it. They shift a few new bodies on. Fedema drops it off to his teammate here with 8 seconds to go on the penalty. Floyd is Hooper. Flares it to the post on the back end, and that penalty is officially over. Back to five-a-side hockey. Did not see that coming. The lone goal tonight for Calvin coming on the PK. Just 12 seconds into that last penalty kill. And now with 5 minutes and 41 seconds to go in the third, trying to find another one and cut that deficit 2-1 as Clayton tried to get a touch on it into the zone and can't. All the way down it goes. And we'll duel again here at 5:36 in our final frame. .534 to go in the final period. Calvin got one back on the penalty kill. But that's been it, and that's been all for them in this game. Here with now 5:23 to go in this third period. DeClaw smacks one in. Ooh, and Fedema thought about it and then decided to cover it up. Thought better of it. Here we're just over 5 to play. Look at Fedema there. In goal for Calvin. Not just his sophomore season. 2 more seasons of him in between the pipes. And that is certainly something they're excited about over at Calvin. Of course, if Adrian on the other side has proven anything, good goaltending can carry you a long distance. We know that to be a universal truth in this game of hockey. As we're officially inside of 5 minutes, now 4:53. As they said, there was a tip on its way into the offensive zone. No icing called. Ickes finds Petrula. Fresh out of the penalty box after that last infraction. Ooh, goodness, as they flip it out of play. Will that be a delay of game? So 2-minute penalty here against Adrian, I believe. It is against Adrian. Look at that. Allen on the 2-minute penalty. Sorry, I was getting clarification on something a little bit earlier. There is no delay of game the ACHA level, only at the NHL and pro level. That makes more sense. Beaver, wrister. Ooh, deflection. Nearly carries it into the back of the net. Beaker able to keep it in the zone, though. Calvin with a prime opportunity to cut that deficit to 1. Beaker knocked down. Inside of 2 minutes on that penalty, 1:33. And a 3-card pileup in between the goal and those back boards as it's finally played out. And Beaker settles it at center ice, but there is no delay of game in the ACHA, so no penalty there. But one immediately afterwards here for the Adrian Bulldogs. And in minute 12 to go on the man advantage for the Knights. Ickes, leaves his defender. Drops it off for Petrula. Back into the center, it's Benedict. Off the backhand, no. Petrula taps it out. Benedict right down in front of us. Into the boards, sandwiched into the boards there as Ickes will jar it free. Ickes, had Petrula, but can't connect on the one-time feed. 43 seconds on the man advantage. And Smith off a bad dump-off. Lost his footing as he tried to wind back in front of goal. Beaker gets the deflection but carries it wide. Eaton in the corner. Has Benedict, but takes it himself. In behind goal, looking for options. Back and forth he goes. Benedict waiting for it, circles it off for a one-timer, but taken away by the Bulldogs in front. Zimmerman in the waning seconds of that penalty in an offsides. 2:41 and one they desperately needed. And Adrian, who has been excellent at killing off those penalties all night tonight, have only given up one. An odd one, you could say, when they were up a man. And outside of that, the PK unit has been excellent. They win the draw here. Hooper chased down in the defensive zone. We're back to five-a-side hockey. And just 2.5 separated between Adrian and another Great Lakes 6 title. Offsides here and a face-off upcoming. And the regionals coming up. Expect to see both of these two teams maybe make a march in the national championship. And who knows, for Calvin, this might be a boost if they're unable to come up with some magic here in the final 2+. Jamer rattles it off the boards, in back behind the goal. It's picked up by Smith, who will play it right back that direction. Rister, Reamer, saved by Fedema. And if there's one thing we've learned in this tournament, it's that Fedema is going to be a reliable option for years to come. So unbelievably good and net, quick with the glove. Snares yet another one there for Calvin with 2:08 to go in period 3. But both sides of the aisle sleeping easy tonight, knowing that their goaltending is going to be pretty good for years to come. Ickes on a touch before the blue line. Officially at the 2-minute warning. Benedict looks back to the blue line. Has it ripped away, and then it's chipped out towards center ice. Chasing down the other way into Bosny there to track it down in the corners. He steers it to Benedict, who's checked into the boards. Taken away by Gajewski. And he's still down. Eaton slow back to his feet. Took a hard check into the boards and then settled down by Fedema in front of goal. Draws a crowd as they were trying to crash for that one. Tired bodies on both sides. In what has been an absolute grind of a Great Lakes 6 championship. And a little chirping on the far end. Jamer talking to the Calvin bench referee, trying to get in between them. It's a little friendly chirping between the two sides. And maybe a little bit of disappointment, some resentment on the Calvin side. Timeout burned. Here with 1:27 to go in this third period. 1:27 away from claiming their second straight Great Lakes 6 title. Here for the Adrian Bulldogs. We'll see if they can do it on the other end here on YouTube. minute 27 until Adrian College is looking to claim yet another Great Lakes 6 title. They can become back-to-back champions in the first 2 years of this conference existence. Calvin looking to find a little late-game magic and maybe pull off a come-from-behind victory in the most unlikely of scenarios. But they only have a minute 10 to do so. Settled at center ice. Chaska kick save. Into the corner, it's Eaton who tries to knock it down and win it back. It's worked back out towards the blue line, and Petrula can't settle it there. Calvin has pulled their goalie here in the final 52 seconds of this third period. Pratt shuffles it up the near boards. They look to find Ickes on the deflection, but can't get it there as Beaker stops it from rolling down the length of the ice. Petrula flares it into the corner. Jamer sees that one go off his stick as Pratt tries to power it back in. Eaton, Ickes, a wrister, and a save. Eaton got it in a good spot, and Chaska just too quick. And the biggest save for him tonight is with 28 seconds and a 2-goal lead. Now it's desperation time here for the Knights. Adrian is feeling it. Bashing their sticks against the board. Stick broken on the face-off, and they'll work it out with a chance to put in a shorthanded one. Wrister, and they score as they salt this one away. Gajewski will put it to bed. And Adrian, a year separated from beating Calvin in this game, will do it again here inside of Patterson Ice Center. A long season inside the Great Lakes 6 winds its way to the end. And in a much anticipated matchup between these two sides, Adrian able to do it again. The model of excellence. And they remain that way. Adrian Bulldogs, off the power of this 4-goal performance, find their way to the top of the Great Lakes 6 mountain yet again. Back-to-back champions. Well, congratulations to this Adrian hockey program. Now the expectation is that they were going to get there, but Gary Estalos kept the vision intact, and so did this team. 4-1 the winner. They'll try to climb their way back to the national championship and put their name atop of the ACHA Division I mountain. For Calvin, the dream's not over just yet. It's just getting started here tonight. But one last time, the final here, 4-1. Adrian gets it done. And until we talk to you guys for the regionals, so long, everybody.